One thing that I really liked also in Foodist was you talking about mindfulness. And, mindfulness is a word that I've heard for a long time, but I really avoided it because I'm a cardiologist. I like real science. I like the ejection fraction to be 50%. I want the stenosis to be 90%. I mean, I like, hard and fast things. And I thought mindfulness was really too touchy-feely, for me. But I heard a physician came in and gave a lecture on mindfulness and really struck a chord with me. And I not only like, wow, this could really help people, but I also realized for myself, I mean, I do 12 things at once. I don't even eat without a newspaper or a computer in front of me or something, like that. And I started adapting some of these things of mindfulness and realized how powerful it is. Can you talk a little bit about mindfulness? Like, how did you come to this and its importance?
Yeah, so that is one of those other things that I was not talking about on Summer Tomato right off the bat. And I'm like you. To me, that was just like, I don't know. I don't know. People like that stuff, but that's not me. I'm a scientist. Come on, guys. But a couple things made me start thinking about it more. I think, and this is sort of more involved in how I operate as a human who's intellectual. One of my best friends in the world, his name is Dr. Adam Ghazali, and he's a professor at UCSF. And he studies distraction. And I used to work, actually, when I was at Berkeley, I worked in the lab and we worked on this stuff together. So he studies distraction and interference and how it impacts our, not just like how we feel, but our actual productivity. And he's been studying this for 10 years now. And what he's found, like absolutely conclusively, is that we pay a price for task switching. And, I learned, like, if I was going to, I turned in my book 9 months early. Like, you can't do that if you're flipping back and forth between Facebook and Twitter and, all the things that I love and use religiously. But you want to get into something and you really want to do your best work, mindfulness, and being, well, not just mindfulness, but just being aware and staying on task, being aware that there are distractions out there and that you're going to suffer if you let them impact your life, was a big revelation for me. And I tripled my productivity. Like, I'm not even kidding. Just by closing my stupid email. Like, I would give myself like 10 minutes of email in the morning, and I would just read it to see if there was anything pressing. And I would turn it off, not just minimize it, not like leave the tab open, just turn that stuff off. Again, just like check social media and then turn it off and then just work. This was really a revelation to me. And I started thinking about it more. But, when you first do this, it's actually very difficult. So anybody who's practiced
absolutely
any sort of mindfulness knows how difficult it is. And that sort of tells you something, right? It tells you that it's a habit and that, you're going to have to spend some effort to break that habit if you want to get the benefit of not being so distractible. So that was when I started paying more attention to meditation, which is basically just a practice of doing this so that you're better at it. It sounds like you're trying to reach nirvana, like ethereal, like religious thing, but it's not. It's just a practice for your mind to learn how to focus and be more productive. So I started reading more about this, and then I just started sort of more naturally applying it to food. I had a guest post actually by a woman who's also a neuroscientist who wrote about it a bit. And, and there's other, the mindless eating, like the stuff we talked about before, with the sort of the distractible environment that's getting us to eat more than we should. All these things just sort of started converging for me, and so I started focusing more on that data. And it just turned out that I don't chew. I learned this, or like my natural inclination, and I think that's one of those dieter things too. Like, I used to just inhale food, but I learned that when I did chew, I enjoyed my food more, right? And I would eat less, also win, and feel more satisfied with less food, which is just, I think that can be really powerful, because especially if you're going to be doing things like allowing yourself to have a cupcake whenever you want, and even if what you want is less, you don't want to be that person who has 3, because that's not going to help. You can have 1, and you want to enjoy it. So I started using it myself, and I realized how powerful it was, but also how difficult it can be. And so one of the things I do on Summer Tomato is try to give people, and in the book Foodist, is try to give people tools to make that easier and to demystify it, and make it feel real and not like something that is sort of, this hippie hand wavy thing without actually any data behind it. The data on people who practice mindfulness and who can really cultivate that in their lives is off the charts. I mean, these people can lower their own blood pressure, their body temperature. They can, they have better working memory. They're happier. Like, there's a zillion reasons to do it.
Yeah, I've had the same experience, and actually I started based on, after reading Foodist, I started paying attention to how much I chew, and I realized that I was just, I wasn't a fast eater, but I didn't chew. I would not just shovel it in, but the chewing part, it was a big deal to me. And I also loved your point about that, eating, foods that have a lot of fiber, like legumes and stuff. Chewing that can help you if you've had, stomach issues from that. I've never considered that.